What's up, Bleach fans? And we are finally caught back up with Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War Arc, episode 34, though this one is still coming out late. We're finally caught up again. This is before the release of episode 35, at least. So, yeah, reason for that, under the weather, yada, yada, yada. Let's go forth with this one, because this one's entitled Baby Hold Your Hand, and, yeah, so what I just want to say, just like everything has been transpiring in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, it's not everything that's in the manga is generally shot for shot shown in each episode, right? With one or two little things here and there taken out. You know, some people noticed, oh, that joke, why wasn't that in there, or something like that, right? But for the most part, I would argue a good 98% of every panel you see in this is going to be here. But the cool thing is that once we get to the fights, and especially since we know that Kubo was not in the proper condition to be continuing the series at the pace he was doing, not around this time, but soon after, it's very nice to see them just take their time and expand, because that's exactly what happens here in the Pernida fight. Some people would argue it's one of the best fights in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, if not all of Bleach. I like this fight from a narrative perspective for sure, which we'll eventually get to. And it is just, like, Mayuri is a madman. We can all agree on that. But what takes place here, the amount of shit-talking. And we almost always get this, but I would argue that this level of shit-talking is him at his peak. This, if he was a comedian on Netflix, this would be his comedy special that everyone knows him from. This would make him famous, okay? Because, yes, he shit-talks with his fight in Soul Society against Uryu. Yes, he shit-talks against Salaporo Grants in the Espada number 8. I got that right? Espada number 8? In, or is he 7? I think he's 8. Anyways, in Hueco Mundo. Now, here in Volume 70, which we cover quite a bit of the fight, we cover almost where the first couple of chapter or two of this volume is once again the Hashwolf Basby backstory, which is all going to be probably compiled into one episode, expanded upon, and then moved. Kubo might want to reveal a few more things, a few more details in that flashback, so they've compartmentalized that, and they're moving that over to probably, I'm going to say, the end of this season. You know, it's going to come in the culmination. We're going to see the fights and blah, blah, because we're right in the thick of things. And I'm going to say that we'll see the Hashwolf Basby backstory in the very last episode, or the penultimate episode, if you will. But that being said, here, Mayuri's shit-talking to Pernida. Which, once again, he first thinks is, alright, you managed to make Kenpachi Zaraki rip his arm off. Okay, alright, you're no slouch. You're a Quincy. Alright, my Quincy friend. What are you doing, my Quincy friend? And stuff. And we're looking at this. And he thinks it's just a Quincy. And boom. Left arm of the Soul King. And I'm like, I mean, that's my right arm. So the left arm of the Soul King shows up. And at first, I know, Mayuri's explanation is hilarious. I mean, it really is just like something that I don't understand, something I've only read about in a mere passage, something even Kisuke Urahara was unaware of and its abilities. Of course I love Kazikaku's like, we know he's crazy, but is he fucking, like, is there any marbles left in that skull of his, or whatever you call, whatever body part is on Mayuri right now? And it's just like, well, yeah, I'm a scientist, and I'm so intrigued to see what are your abilities, what can you do. I can't wait to dissect you. This is gonna be fucking lit. And the amount of shit talking he does to Pernida is just like the whole thing about his name, you know? Because Mayuri Kuretsuchi, not exactly a simple short name. Neither is, however you say, Akisochi Jizo's Bankai. That shit's fucking long and complicated and stuff. So the hilarious part is, yes, he shit talks his opponents. And we cover about half of this volume in this one episode alone. So as I said, we're going at a good pace. You know, one more episode, and we should be basically done with volume 70. And except for the one episode of the backstory, we're straight into the last 4 volumes. And this is only core 3. This is a good thing, though, people. This is an excellent thing because it doesn't feel rushed, and it just means there's going to be more content. Just like the Renji Uryu fight in the previous episode. Which, by the way, once again, Lilibaro, obviously not very trusting of Uryu, and was trained on him at the end of the Renji fight, right? He's not as... He's in the Hashwolf camp of not trusting Uryu there. But Mayuri literally... So he starts off with the whole like, oh, see the left arm of the Soul King, hey. You know? And, like, I took readings from Captain Ugetake, and, you know, I've never heard of this thing, this Mimi Hagi shit. So I finally figured out, okay, and you're this and you're that. And he remembers reading, like, one is stillness, one is advancement. Now, I will say... It's not fully brought up here either, just like the manga. You would think Mayuri takes a minute to realize that the thing is learning, that couldn't speak before, then was just shouting, and now was saying simple words and sounding, and the tone change and stuff. You know, these things, when one arm is stillness, and it managed to still the death of the Rio, right? The death of the Soul King. Because nothing can change. That's its power. It's stillness. Just like with Ugetake, we explained this before. Uketake's illness was not cured or went away. It was just halted. Right there. It can't get worse or better. It was just halted by the power of the Mimihage. The left arm of the Soul King. Pernaida's ability is advancement. Is progression. Is progress. So it's going to constantly take information in and constantly improve itself and learn at an alarming growth rate. Everything that it can take in. And I believe it's mentioned in the fight that it's not so much what it can see, because, you know, it's an arm. But, and actually, good point. Mayuri even brings up, where's that thing speaking from? Like, this is why I have to dissect this thing. You're speaking now. I don't know where from. Where is your mouth cavity? Like, where is the organ you are using on this fucking hand with an eyeball, with 2 eyes? He even makes mention of that. He goes, hard to call it one eye, isn't it? Where are you speaking from? You know what I mean? Or I guess this one. Where are you speaking from? You know, is it here, here, here? Is it the thumb? Is it the palm? Is it... Where are you speaking from, right? What are you using to speak? But also brings up just the fact that, so this thing has progress, and it's through the nerves in the, and as I said, this is going to be in the next episode, so it's not, and I talk spoilers about the manga here, so it's fine, but yeah, it's just a visual, it's not so much a visual one, but everything it takes in from the nerves surrounding it, so the more it spreads its nerves, the more it can advance its growth and stuff like that, and I find that Mayuri, of all people, should have caught up on this. It was just a small nitpick when I was rereading the fight after watching the episode, and I was kind of like, he was almost shocked by it, even if only for one panel, and I was like, literally, you read, it's the left hand is progress. You know, like, you are one of the most intelligent, you're one of the top 3 most intelligent people in the series. You got Kisuke Urahara, you got Aizen, then you got yourself. So you're batting as one of the top 3 smartest guys in universe, and you know that didn't clue in any quicker, or you're actually shocked by that. I was always kind of bothered by that, but I guess we'll see how they handle it in the episode, or if they'll just go verbatim. But yeah, because when I was rereading the fight, I saw that was the case here, and the animation here going forward was just, it was a beautiful visual, 100% and stuff like that. All the Kenpachi stuff was the same. Of course, Kenpachi ripped his arm off and stuff. But I say all this just to go back to the fact that he just shit-talking him. Like, where do you speak from? Seriously. And do you not understand? You are the left arm. It's like, no, that is not my name. It's like, oh, you can speak now. Well, no. It's like, because he says, oh, no, my name is Pernaida Pernishkikas or whatever, and he goes, nah, that name's too long. Coming from Mayuri, that name's too long. And he's like, He goes, no, you see, I discovered you. You're going to be my test tube baby, and I get to name you. I get to decide what's below your little, when I put you on a shelf in a jar, I get to put the label on the jar. I'm going to get my little label maker out, and if I want to call cumin cayenne pepper, I'm going to do so, damn it. So I'm just like, okay, Mayuri, nice little shit talk in there. And then he continues. He just continues. He's like, yeah, you don't get to decide your name. I get to decide your name. Your name's too long. But you know what? I'll be charitable. And I will, you know what? I'll let you have the name. But I'm going to decide how it's spelled. It's like, none of this matters. This is just shit talking and being for the sake of being. You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, all right, Mayuri, you go, you do you, man, you do you. And the fight is extended, as I said at the beginning of the review. What I like is that we can take the time and the pacing to extend the fight. So after the Kenpachi shit, which is all basically the same and stuff like that, and Mayuri takes over and stuff like that. We see the arms do a little bit longer thing. The CGI. The CGI is fine, by the way. There was CGI in this episode, only for a little bit. Didn't bother me. It looked fine to me and stuff. And we spend a lot more time with the original arm and a lot more time with him trying to attack Mayuri. Mayuri uses these umbrellas of modified soul things or whatever. Everything looks like it's in constant pain. And he's using the rings to blow off fingers and stuff like that. He's using a couple more techniques than he did in the manga fight, or it just lasts longer. He's consistently blocking with umbrella, and the chase through the buildings and stuff like that is a little bit longer. He almost immediately takes the double hands and crushes him, and Mayuri is out of the golden suit, and he's in his final form that we see here in the manga, and then he goes on the cool, hey man, I'm now hoverboard Mayuri Karatsuchi, Quincy style, right? Before then, we get a little bit more, you know what I mean? He gets chased through the buildings, and he's using his grappling arms and stuff that we haven't seen in a while and stuff. And if memory serves, as I said, it's been a few days since I reread the fight in the manga, but I don't remember that initial part happening. He gets slammed, boom, then he's in the form, and then it's Bankai time, right? After he blows off the finger and stuff like that, then he just does Bankai stuff. He doesn't do any of the jumping around with his Q-Claw arm from Agent Under Fire, and he doesn't do the the umbrella thing constant for all the nerves that are trying to attack him and stuff. So I just like these little extensions to these fights. They just make them better. They're cooler. We get to see more of what Mayuri can do, and Nemu's just there a little bit worried about him. He's like, I'm not sure here, like she just mentions that, well, something, never mind, sort of idea, right? But either way, it's always that body horror shit with Mayuri. Everything looks like it's in pain, and it's body horror, and it's not my cup of tea, honestly. It's not my cup of tea whatsoever, but you can argue that the designs are pretty fire. The designs of everything are cool. Kubo comes up with these crazy ideas for the Mayuri as a scientist. He would come up with, I don't care if it looks dangerous and ugly and stuff. He even stabs his own bloody sword with his fingernail in the eye, and the poor thing's crying, and it's like, Jesus Christ. Your sword is a piece of your soul. You're hurting your own soul right now, man. Jesus. That being said, if it is Mayuri's soul, because it is his Zanpakuto, his soul would understand and would do the same thing if he was in his shoes. So, I guess he has consent? I don't know. Because same with the modified Bankai. Doesn't turn into the giant baby this time, centipede baby. No, this time turns into a giant fat Buddha looking baby, and then bursts a poor baby that is just crying and in total pain, and then eats 3 arms of the Soul King. And then Mayuri goes off with his cackling yay me, and that's where we end the episode. Mayuri has not only shit-talked his way through this, and he's taunted him oh yes, you would recognize these cool hover things that I'm using since you can't let me touch the ground. I stole them. Yeah, Uryu Ishida, he called them something. Maybe you guys call them something else. Either way, modified, now I can use Quincy techniques because I'm Mayuri Kuretsuchi, motherfucker. And then, we see his grappling arm, we see his umbrella thing, we see his, his Bankai, Ashijijo, the fear factor, all these things. And he's just been shit-talking and dominating the fight this entire time. And now he's cackling in victory that he has so easily not just defeated one of the top Quincy's, which, by the way, do they know that? I do have that question. Do they know that these are the Royal Guards they're fighting? Like, does Shunsui, is there any indication that these are the top 5 dogs that they're taking out? You know what I mean? Because they've been fighting Quincy's this whole time. But other than the people that were at the Royal Palace, at the Soul Palace, when they're fighting Squad 0, would there be any indication that, Shunsui, you are fighting, you take this guy out, he is one of the top dogs. He's one of the 5, or one of the 6, technically. He's one of the 6. I assume that Mayuri understands that the Soul King's left arm is probably a big deal in the Quincy ranks. But do they know that these are part of the, the inner circle of Yuha? You know what I mean? Huh. I don't know. Do you guys know? Is there a panel for that or an episode where that's mentioned? Let me know that down in the comment section down below. Do you think Basby filled them in on the way? Do you think Basby was like, yeah, okay, so these are the top dogs. I'm taking Hashwolf, but the other 5, go ahead, deal with them, I don't know. But either way, right now, Mayuri is soaking in his victory. He's taken down the left arm of the Soul King realistically with very little problem. He's had to use a lot of his inventions. He had to use his Bankai and stuff like that. But really, he dominated the fight and got to shit talk while doing it. So, Mayuri's certainly no slouch. But anyways, that was the episode. It was a great fight so far. And I assume that the fight's going to continue. I imagine we're going to jump away either to the Ichigo fight with Askin, or they fight with Askin to sort of clear up the whole what's going on with Ichigo's group and Grimjow. Or we're going to start the Lilibaro Shunsui fight, and we'll do those sort of in tandem. You know what I mean? We'll do half the episode will be the fight between Pernida and Mayuri, and then the other half will start off the Shunsui fight with Lilibaro. Then we'll probably, the following episode, next episode, we'll finish the Pernida fight, and then continue the Shunsui stuff. So maybe, I don't know how they're going to pace it exactly, and maybe we get brand new fights, maybe we get brand new scenes. I don't know yet. So, if you guys know, you can let me know. But, it was a good episode. I really like it, even though Mayuri's not one of my favorite characters. But there are so many great characters in Bleach. I mean, it's hard to be in the top of that list, right? Some of mine are right over here. So, yeah. Am I pointing the right way? Yeah. The stuff's over here. But anyways, that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry that this and the previous one were so late getting out. But we'll be on time for episode 35, barring any, life or death situations. We should be on time for episode 35. So thanks guys so much for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.